Hi there, it's Jo here from Creative Empowerment, and today I'm going to do a bit of a walkthrough, a bit of a review, and a bit of probably a love fest on The Wild Unknown Animal Spirit by Kim Krans and distributed by Harper One. It is probably my favourite deck, and if you don't have this deck, it is a must. And if you like Animal Spirit, but also just if you're an Oracle lover, and even if you're a tarot lover, Kim has a tarot deck that you may have. She also has another Oracle deck, archetypes, neither of which I have, but are definitely on my want to get list. But that is such a long thing that we'll just, have to keep moving along. But this was one of my decks that I did overuse for quite a period of time. So it's taken me a little while to get to doing this video because I really wanted to do it justice, and let's hope I do. The version that I have comes fully boxed up, and it's got this may you always be on an inner quest. Kim, the way she's done this packaging is just amazing. The guidebook is amazing, but we'll go there in a minute. And then we have the actual cards that are inside, which I've taken out, but I just wanted to show you how it comes if you haven't seen this deck before. And it is amazing, and this has got like that silvery shine. You can see the camera's picking that up, which is just gorgeous. But everything about this deck is just so well thought out, so well executed, and just beautiful is what I have to say. So yeah, like I said, there is going to be a bit of a love fest happening here because it is one of my favorite decks, if not the favorite, but that changes all the time. We have this gorgeous big eye on the front, and it's leading us into this space that is filled by the beautiful artwork of Kim Krans, and there's lots of like beautiful line work. I love art, and I still am an art teacher. What I studied at uni was drawing, and Kim is a beautiful artist, and her line work and her drawing ability and her skills are amazing. We have our beautiful box, and inside the box is 2 feet, 4 feet, scales or hide. May our minds stay open and our wings span wide. There's all these lovely little features inside the deck. We have that beautiful infinity symbol, and then we have the magical guidebook, as you can see, and this is amazing. It's a really thick book. Kim really goes into a lot of detail, but it's also not too detailed. One of the things that I love about this book is it's really well indexed. So you've got the understanding the deck, you've got using the deck, deeper insights, wild unknown animal spirit, and then the areas where they're explained, the cards are explained. Now, one of the things that Kim does talk about, how she put this deck together, and the kind of things that the topics and the selection process for what animals were to go in this deck. And she found it really difficult because she's an animal lover, obviously, and she wanted to include lots of animals, but there's only so much you can include. She had to whittle it down, and so it's well written in here about how she did that. She talks about the choices that she did make and why she made them. She wanted to include domestic animals, but there's so many domesticated animals, but it felt like this deck wanted to be wild. But you can draw from those archetypal spirit animals, so of cheetah or cats and wolves and canine, and draw them back to your favorite domesticated animals. We have 5 suits. We have earth, which is, I'm going to read, I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to read the topics, the starting points. We have creatures of the field and forest, and the suit is all about survival and instinct. The earth creatures represent our relationship with fears and habits. It's a very grounded suit, dependable and supportive. They're about routine, the material plane, practical concerns such as money, home, work, and family. Kim also talks about how to get unstuck from the various suits and each individual cards. The water suits, and I'm going to go through each suit in a minute, but I'll just go through the guidebook a little bit more. Water suit, creatures of the oceans, rivers, and lakes. And these represent our emotional world, our ability to express ourselves, our relationships, love, boundaries, creativity, our flow. Water creatures are often drawn to the arts, be romantic. There's a free flowing of emotions with the water cards. And you can see that I didn't mention that the symbols, the earth is the cross triangle down below. The water is the inverted triangle. Fire is, that apex triangle. Creatures of the desert and grasslands. The creatures of fire element lead us towards change. They represent the ego and challenge us to become our best selves. They can come up when we're experiencing conflict or discomfort. They are about transformation, and there is this heat when we are dealing with the fire cards. They are about transforming darkness into light. Then we have the air cards, which are creatures of the sky. The creatures of the air element move quickly and decisively. They're known to see more than others, and this can lead to powerful and discerning qualities. Air creatures love movement and mobility, but the speed at which they move often leaves them ungrounded. Several air cards indicate too much movement and not enough earth. And then we finally have the spirit, and there's the 5 symbols that Kim has, what she calls the alchemical symbols for the 5 elements. And our last one is spirit, which they're possibly my favourite in the deck. The creatures of the ether, the creatures of the spirit element do not live on earth as we know it. They are inhabitants of the dimensions beyond, the cosmic ether. These 7 trump cards represent significant challenges or awakening on the subtle level, the level of inner spirit or soul. Like guardians from another realm, they are watchful and protective when we are at a crossroads in our lives. Several spirit cards indicate the force of life is moving us in new directions. Then Kim goes on to how you might use the deck. Obviously, what is my animal spirit? That's a question you can ask. Questions to ask. Caring for your deck, when to ask it. Cutting and shuffling. Different spreads for you to do, from very simple to a bit more complicated, which I think I've done all of these in this deck, and I find them really quite helpful. And then she goes on to deeper insights. And this is when you've been working with this deck a bit more, you can kind of get into this stuff. There's a card order. So I'm going to go through the cards in the order, and it's all about, like the food chain. It's the order of, there's no numbers, but it's kind of like she has come up with an order, where the element of fire progresses from a subtler expression to a very full-on expression. This incorporates things such as the food web, which predators are the apex ones. They're often the highest in this order, and the smallest, they're not always the smallest actually, but the lowest on the pecking chain are kind of like the first cards, and then we go up through these apex predator scales. So here we have the Earth suit in Kim Krans's Animal Spirit deck. I'm going to flip through these cards and then place them down so you can see the whole suit. So we have Bear, who starts the suit. We have Earthworm and Mouse. We have Rabbit. And you'll notice that there is a definitely change in the cards. There's some really deep, dark cards, and then there's the beautiful lightness of Fox. And I'll put them out and then I will sort them out down below. We have Snake and Buffalo, bringing all that transformation and abundance. Lamb, Elk. And these are all earth animals, as you can see. Wolf, Spider, and ultimately Horse is the sort of ruler of this deck. And here we have the whole Earth deck out. We have it from its progression. So Bear, which is kind of like the full card, and working through sort of more subtler energies with Earth, sort of more fear-based Earth energies when we start moving into sort of that more confident areas of getting things under control, and then moving into these sort of starting to access higher vibration in an Earth energy, or that's how I see it anyway. And then we have, you know, the sort of archetypical, I don't even know if I said that right, sort of energies of, you know, wolf and deer and elk, you know, that, you know, there's some very strong spirit animal energy in the earth realm here. And then you kind of move up to spider, where you kind of think to yourself that you understand what Kim's doing sometimes, you know, where you know, you're starting from it's not the most subtle, it's not the most gentle, it changes in the different suits. But you can see that spider is kind of very, very different from the whole deck here, and even the colouring and things like that. And you'll notice the cards that you might be, you know, they're drawn to the darker sort of cards here, but spider, you know, it's all about that manifestation. So it's all about that progression of using the earth element, and the idea of an earth element is, you know, being gifted at working with the physical and getting what you want from the physical. You know, the spider creates its own web that then it brings its home, its food, it gets everything it needs from its own manifestation abilities. The progression of these cards and their meanings is really, it's not subtle, but it's not something you even need to worry about in the beginning when you're using them, if you're new to working with oracle decks. But, you know, like then the horse is like the apex of this card suit, and it's all about freedom. And you can see that sort of wildness, which typifies the idea of the wild, unknown animal spirit, which I love the horse card. It's a great card. But, you know, getting your cards and setting them out like this, it's a great way of playing with your cards and seeing what you can see in the suit of earth, and really identifying, so that when you're working with them, when you're reading with your cards, you can actually have these different things pop up to you, because you know that the deer is a higher vibration or a higher aspect of the earth card. Whereas if you're in a traditional mindset, you might think that the male is going to be higher. But deer comes in because it's all that softness, it's all that gentleness. But then there's that sort of, you know, that the ears are coming out with that, and sitting underneath the rabbit too. That's really nice, actually. But it's like listening to all that. It's that love vibration and bringing in that higher vibration at the same time. Beautiful, those beautiful doe eyes and all that gentleness. You know, like there's a lot of she's brought out a lot of gentleness of these spirit animals. You know, fox as well. Fox is an animal that we can associate with cunning and deceit and deception, from, you know, fairy tales and things like that. Where I live, foxes are, you know, people go out and shoot them and want to get rid of them because they are a pest. But here I find the softness of this fox is really disarming and so very gentle. Like I said before, the beautiful artwork that she's created around this animal, it's just stunning. And this fox, it talks to me about being a female fox, and that just the gentleness and that mother, you know. So there's all these different aspects that when you get out the whole suit, that you start looking at them and seeing, you know, the fear of the rabbit, but what else can it be? You know, so that there's all these gifts of when you get this stuff out and start looking at it, when you start going into it, you deepen your knowledge of the cards that you're working with, but you also you get more of an insight into what the artist and creator was doing with their deck. Kim has set this out with a particular intent, so we want to actually, you know, not necessarily understand exactly what she was thinking, but we want to get our own understanding of how this works as a suit, what the progression is. And obviously, I didn't say before, there are 14 in each of the suits. And you'll see that if you do put them out like this, you'll see that multicolored nature. And I really, really love that. I love the different color usage in her work. And now we have the suit of water. So, you know, we're talking about love, relationships, creativity, boundaries, emotions, communication, and the flow of things. And, you know, we start off with crocodile, you know, who you might think of as an apex predator because he's, you know, probably he or she is the top of the tree, in the water, you know, in the water. as is, shark down here. But crocodile's all about, resting and, not expending all of your energy. And then we have stingray, which is all about, being ready for action, that confidence and belief in self. But so these animals, I think it's a little bit harder to get your head around, or that's how I've found it anyway. But I've found that these spirit animals talk to me, often in different ways, and often that, what I find great about Kim is that she wants you to find your own, use your own intuition and come up with what these cards mean for you. And that is something that I love. I love the fact that she has her own interpretation and, all the rest of it. But I love that she leaves it open for you to do with it what you like, or what you may. Oyster is one of my favorite cards. It's about being patient. It's about looking, look at all that excitement, that light that's coming from within. But it's also about that growth, see that these growth rings. There's a lot of internal growth happening and you're developing something inside. It's a great card of what's coming for you and what you've been incubating and working on. Often creatively, but it could also be expressively. Frog is about, letting those rains come and cleanse you. And I love how she's worked with the cards, like there's a lot with backgrounds where they've got stripes or this element of rain or blackness. And then there's this stark whiteness with the color of the frog. And, the animal or the spirit animal is looking at you and, I don't know, they speak to you, they almost speak to you, or they do speak to you, whichever feels right for you. And then shark, of course, and then we have dolphin. So then we're moving into the higher realms of the water element and the water suit. We have dolphin, that extrasensory communication and higher vibrations. And then we have whale, which is, the biggest animal of the ocean and humongous in size, but as an animal, energetically, it's, full of, like dolphin is, full of that wonderful higher vibration, that ability to bring in, different awarenesses and things like that. So again, like I said, with the earth element, when you get these cards out and you have a look at them, all these different things come to you. You're able to see different aspects of these cards, and I think it's a really great idea to do this every now and then with a deck of cards, and particularly when someone has developed them in the way that Kim has. So now we're going to jump into the next suit. Now we have the element of fire and the fire suit. Fire ant, hyena, scorpion, lizard, and you can see the heat of these colours with the fire, tarantula, camel and gazelle, and the beautiful cheetah, and then the tiger. And look, we're deepening and deepening here. Zebra, beautiful lion, and then ultimately the elephant. And here we have the whole suit of fire, starting with the fire ant, moving right through down to, oops, I've got those in the wrong order, right down to the elephant. There's sort of more darker themes, coming through in this fire element. It's kind of, it's a bit more of polarity coming in, that's that white hot heat, and then the darkness, which is kind of bringing up that shadow sort of stuff. Hyena is a great example. There's that shadow element of, the moon's half in illumination and half not. And it's really talking to you about that, not necessarily a nice side of your personality, and panther, roaring into this from the darkness, coming straight at you, nowhere to hide kind of thing. And even tarantula, while, not one of my favorite spirit animals, but it's a great, as in the animal itself, but the actual meaning of tarantula is actually a really great one. It talks about being at a crossroads and claiming your life's purpose. It's kind of like you can't just continue going on in a sort of in a boring fashion, I suppose is the way I'm thinking about it, but everyone will find their own meaning. But, like there's a lot of these cards just draw your attention. They grip your awareness. They want you to look at them. There's cheetah moving so fast. So if you bring up that card in a reading, it's going to be about moving towards what you want at a really fast rate. Cobra, I love this card. And it's, looking you dead in the eye with all that passion and excitement behind it. It's also sort of hypnotic and, bringing in all these new things for you, and perhaps an inner teacher. And it's waiting, it's poised, it's ready. And then we have lion. We all know that the lion is this wonderful, king of the jungle. But then we have elephant, who sort of trumps the lion, because elephant is this immovable force. It is a force that cannot be reckoned with. It is, get out of my way, this is coming. Look at the ground. It's, the ground is irreversibly changed. It's, I am coming through with this fire inside me. Look out. Yeah, an unstoppable force. So there's a lot of, there's a real power in these fire cards: transformation, power, excitement, inspiration. Be yourself. It's that self-awareness through personal power. So some great ideas in this suit. And this is the suit of air. And then we've got moth to begin with. We have butterfly. So we've got animals of the air. So they're not grounded. So there's a lot of spiritual energy, that communication, messenger, community as well. Hummingbird, vulture, really dark, stark energy, and crow. I love the crow. And then we have the beautiful wise owl, dragonfly, nightingale, peacock, hawk, and lastly eagle, which we know as an apex predator of the sky. And now we have our whole suit of air out, and you can see that nearly all of them are shown in flight. Not all of them, but there's a lot of flight happening here. So there's a lot of movement. There's, like I said before, that connection to spirit, that connection to the world above us, rather than the earthy sort of creatures. There's also a lot of communication. So we start with moth. And moth's all about wanting to go to the light, not necessarily happy with where they are right now. Butterfly, which is about transformation. Bat is about rebirth. Firefly, I love this card. I love how little it is and how still its impact can be so big. You can see that, if you imagined you were in this dark space, that one single firefly could be the thing that changes all that darkness. And I love that aspect of this card. Like, it is just magical. That's my interpretation of what I see here. And Kim's is about being inspired and fantastic yet fleeting. Firefly contains the light of 1,000 stars. It's pure, radiant and illuminating. High frequency cannot be sustained. We've got bee. So we've got lots of littler creatures of the air predominantly. I love bee. I love the bee. I really love these cards. I know I've said that before. Vulture, there's this deep rebalancing going on here. There's that depth of stuff coming up with the vulture. It looks murky. It's about purifying. There's a deepness going on with the message from vulture. And then I love crow and owl. The dragonfly, like, I love all of these air ones. Like, sometimes there's a suit and you just love it more than others, and it's not that I love this more than others, but I don't know, I can connect with each and every one of them, which I love. Peacock spirit, which is all about being proud of who you are and owning it and, you know, believing in yourself. And then finally, eagle spirit, which just about getting above everything, seeing beyond the mundane, really connecting with that great spirit. Kim talks about it being the all-pervading power, truth seeker, and transforming of karma, or transforms karma. Got these wonderful messages here coming from air messengers, and there's such a variety and a depth to each of these animal spirits. And like I said, I do love the air creatures of the sky. They're very fast moving, you know, the wings carry them, and they move. There's a lot of movement happening when you get these cards coming in. And perhaps these people, when you're looking at these cards in a reading, that they're describing people who are in their heads a bit much. And so there is a need for a groundedness, but there is, as an animal spirit, they're bringing in this sight that perhaps we don't always have from our normal perspective in life. So now we're going to move into the last suit, which is spirit. And here we have the spirit suit of this deck. And these cards I just love. They're some of my favorite. And you may, like, if you're interested, there's a video where I've taken out some of these cards and use them sort of as a significator of, I didn't say that word very well, you know, what's going on. And I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put the link up here. As you can see, we have a circle, and this is that ether. It's spirit. The intangible, it's the other. I'll give you a little version of Kim's expression of what the creatures of ether are about. They don't live on the earth as we know it. They are inhabitants of the dimensions of beyond, the cosmic ether. These 7 trump cards represent significant challenges or awakenings on the subtle level, the level of the inner spirit or soul. Like guardians from another realm, they are watchful and protective when we are at a crossroads in our lives. Several spirit cards indicate the force of life is moving us in new directions. Trust is the key with the spirit cards as life shifts in big ways. Questions might seem unanswerable, the future unknown, but you're in the perfect place. Even if you have the perception that you're in control, you're not. Grace surrounds the situation and steers the wheel. They're kind of like the magic cards. We have the phoenix, the sea serpent, the dragon, the golden egg, the black egg, the unicorn, and the cosmic egg. And as with the other suits, we have a progression moving through. However, this is much more subtle because each of these cards has its own magic. These spirit cards are magical. They often don't show up in a reading, and when they do show up, you know that it's like sit up and take notice. So we have the phoenix, which is about freedom from suffering and past karma and reincarnation, and it's all about the first chakra. We have sea serpent, healing emotional wounds, expressing desires, and that's the second chakra, so sacral chakra. We have dragon, seeing one's most true self, balancing the ego, and the dragon is all about the third chakra. The golden egg, the message at the center of the heart, the unstruck sound, and that is a beautiful, beautiful. I do particularly have this card as a very big favorite, and the idea of listening to the unstruck sound is magical. And that's the heart chakra, so that's the fourth chakra. We have the black egg, speaking from an authentic voice, the truth, and that is the fifth chakra. So that is our expression, our creativity, etc. Unicorn, reconnecting with our higher wisdom or divinity, and that is the sixth chakra, so third eye. The cosmic egg, completion, harmony, the infinite within the finite. So those cards, they're like the trumps, but I feel like they give more. There's only 7 of those, and there's 14 in each of the other suits. So these are like, they have this very different energy about them, and if you have this deck, I'm sure you'll agree that they open things up. They expand, the ideas that you're working with. They really take a reading to another level. I just want to thank you for joining me today. I really enjoy doing videos like today where I get to play with cards because I really, really am passionate about Oracle and Tarot cards. And this deck is probably one of my favorites and probably was in overuse up until a very short time ago. So yeah, I just absolutely love it. I'm really interested to hear what your thoughts are with this. I know it's an older deck. Thanks for watching today. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. Hope to see you again in the future. Bye for now.